When you first launch BOYD, the settings page lets you specify the command line profile with access to your cost and usage report data, the region where the bucket was deployed, and the name of the S3 bucket. Once these are populated, the Find Prefix button will connect to the bucket configured and populate the dropdown with any prefixes in the S3 bucket that contain the cost and usage report parquet files. Select a prefix and save the settings. The Schema Selection tab is where you can select which columns to include from the available dataset. In this dataset, you can see BOYD has identified 120 columns and the 6 required fields are pre-selected. Line item columns provide details about your types of spend and consumption. Usage types, operations, and description all provide deeper context around usage. Including the start date allows BOYD to visualize daily or hourly spend. Reservation and savings plan columns provide visibility into reserve instance and savings plan usage and distribution among your resources. Tag columns are useful for deriving organizational context and patterns. Once you've selected the columns for your use case, click Save. We can now see that BOYD shows 21 out of the 120 columns have been selected. The Classifications tab is where you can define keys and view defined rules. For cost allocation, you might want to define a classification key for Cost Center. Now you're ready to collect some data. When you visit the home page, you will see the billing periods available and collection status badge. Simply click the Collect Selected button and BOYD will connect to your S3 bucket. Extract the columns you specified for the selected billing period and add a column for the Cost Center classification key. After collection, you are ready to begin exploring. BOYD's homepage will allow you to specify grouping and aggregate columns and build filters as you explore the data. In this example, we want to look at the Cost Center tag values to see how we can populate our classification key field. We can see some resources are tagged, so one option for populating the Cost Center classification key is to add it to our group by values and use BOYD's Filter Edit mode. Now the Filter Edit mode switch is active, and when enabled, you can edit the Cost Center value directly in the grid. When the edited cell loses focus, the Pending Change tab will display the filter and value to be applied and saved. We can very quickly assign the other values. When a filter and group by combination results in multiple rows, all rows will be updated. With our Cost Center values pending, exit Filter Edit mode to apply the pending changes to your saved collection and create classification rules to apply the values during subsequent collections. With some rules and awareness of our dataset, we can return to the Settings Classifications page. If you edit the classification key configuration for our Cost Center key, since the Cost Center tag values seem valid, you can select that field as the default for the classification key value. We can also review the filter edit rules we defined. To demonstrate, our key configuration is using the selected tag field. The main settings page has a Delete Collections option that will remove collected datasets. You can remove the filter edit rules since the Cost Center tag values will be used as the default in future collections. Now, when we return home and perform a collection, we can see the Cost Center classification key values have applied the tag values as the default. And if we scroll down, the Classification Statistics tab provides an overview of your classification key coverage. This concludes our quick introduction to setting up BOYD and using filter classifications to apply organization context and fill tagging gaps. If you're interested in seeing how effective BOYD might work with your cost and usage reports, try a 14-day free trial of BOYD today at cloudarchaeologist.com.